my darkest hours, I feared that we were all that was left of humanity. Your ship, she's a beauty. It travels the stars, right? Tell me, what's it like out there? That's just how I imagine it. My name's Amelia Earhart. When I first woke up in this place, in my head, I knew all about my namesake, her life and her accomplishments. But I also knew how to fly a starship, reactor limits, thrust acceleration, vectors, and everything. In my mind's eye, I can imagine flying out there, touching heaven itself. And yet, cruelly, here I sit. The facility keeps us alive, fed and protected, but they do a terrible job of informing us of anything at all. My guess is the facility thought they might need a pilot one day, but your guess is as good as mine. Am I that transparent? Listen, I know you owe me nothing at all, but I would do anything to get off of here. I know the societies want who knows what from you for who knows why, and I don't want to get involved in any politics. I just want, for my single self, a chance to explore. You won't regret it. Thanks. Do you want to talk about anything else? No, I don't. I consider myself a most ardent admirer of hers. She feels like family. Distant family. I like to think we both share a kindred spirit of adventure, though. She broke so many barriers in her life. I would love the same opportunity one day. I have a few choice, unchristian thoughts about some of them, but I'm going to stay out of it. Listen, I'd understand you making any decision you have to regarding them. Any at all. I just hope you judge me separate. I don't wish harm on anyone. I just want to explore. I hope to see you again.
You don't get old on Crucible unless you are smart. FDR. I listened to him on arenas for years before I joined the Believers.
The Believers will win eventually. It's our destiny.
You can hear the howls at night. The defenses have to hold.
The mission will succeed one day.
You're the talk of Crucible. A pleasure talking with you.
The other societies make me sick. This is a prison, plain and simple.
The renegades will use any means to escape Crucible.
Who cares what sick experiment Crucible was designed for? We need to escape.
The mission is a lie.
Non-resident detected. Valid exception acknowledged.
I had hoped you would visit me. Good. Know that you stand before Queen Amanirinas of the Kush, queen of a dead kingdom on a dead world. But I earned my name, and even the sands of time cannot take it from me. In truly ancient times, my land lay south of Egypt, a harsh country. History is enamored of my contemporary Cleopatra, but she would have withered and died had she tried to rule my land. You walk our land a few footsteps and think you know everything. If you don't believe me, know you are not alone. Some clones deride me behind my back. I know this, but I feel in my bones that I am a Manirinas for true. The great and the terrible to those who would oppose me. I remember things no one has told me. Memories of faces, betrayers, lovers, allies, and enemies. And the smells. The right scent. And I close my eyes. And I can picture all of it. So vividly. It aches my heart. My home. My kingdom. Have you no faith of your own? Something you hold to, even though it cannot be proven. It is the same with me. But I am certain. You speak to a Manirinas, reborn. You are wise then. I know how it must sound. Once, I called upon mighty armies. However, on Crucible I still lead. Have you heard of the believers? Have you heard of the mission? We are the ones who will take our rightful place in these settled systems to bring in a new glorious age and break the endless cycles of oppression and greed. So many scoff at the mission. Before we are reborn here, there are words all of us are told. That we are the chosen. We are meant to better ourselves. To learn, grow, and thrive. All of us represent the greatest figures in our history. Who better to lead the settled systems to a new golden age? You are skeptical. My advisors thought the same when Augustus Caesar stood unbeatable at Cush's border. I made war against the mighty Romans. I took their cities and fought them to a draw. No other king or queen can boast of that honor against that famed Roman. And that's just me. Some of the greatest lions of all ages are awaiting rebirth. What are bureaucrats, petty politicians, and lawyers against that? If we could do it ourselves, we would have, years ago. I do not care if you think my plan is insane. But what I want, what we want, is a chance to prove to the facility we are ready. When someone has achieved their potential, the facility is supposed to set us free among the stars. But the machines have been breaking more and more over the years, and no one has ever been deemed worthy. I need your help to properly fix the facility so that we can prove ourselves and claim our birthright. Surely someone, anyone by now would have learned the lessons the facility sought to teach. No, the machines have not aged well. The crises break upon our beach, each one greater than the last. The facility is another place on this very planet. A place we cannot go, as much as we dream of it. Then listen well, outsider. You must go to the facility. The robots and what drives them is not here. The facility is where they come from. Somewhere far to the east. None of us can travel there. But you can. Go there, please. And see if the facility can be repaired. Then report back to me.
I would kill for this.
Your abilities are... This feels vaguely like one of those situations that ends with, and they were never heard from again.
Stranger! Weapons out!
The man from the stars. Come to see me. And you're not afraid to get your hands dirty. I guess the world out there is not so different than here. Genghis Khan, a pleasure to meet you. Manners cost me nothing. But make no mistake, I will do whatever it takes to escape this prison. I am pleased that the dangers out here are of no concern to you. You cannot be fully human if you trap yourself behind walls. I would provide fresh meat for my society, so we don't get fat off the robots. Franklin and I see eye to eye on very little, but even he appreciates this. And I always hope to see some means of escape. Perhaps our luck has finally changed. The robots taught me many things any Mongol would know. So, hunting game, even such as this, is little challenge to me. So Franklin told you of us. Oh, that we're clones? Some of us think that makes us special. That the deeds of our namesakes are somehow ours. But that is blind arrogance. We are just people. Same as you. Same as anyone. None at all. It is as if I were a student of his life and times from an early age. I know so much about him, but that doesn't mean I am him. I am me, and I am content with this. Would it? You would know better than I. But all this talk gets us nowhere. Too many of the others grovel at the feet of the damned robots, trying to play their roles in a broken game. The renegades will not submit, and one day, we will be free. A prison of the mind and the body. Crucible holds out a throne and says, "Obey, and it is yours." But thrones are meant to be taken, not handed to you by a machine. But it is a tantalizing lie that keeps the others in line. I do not know. Everything outside of Crucible is unknown to us. I imagine the settled systems are not so settled that a man who does not shrink from violence can't make a place for himself, though. Were it that easy, I have died a dozen deaths trying to find a way out of Crucible. You get too far or disobey too much, then death. Crucible holds our lives in its hands. But now, the robots have made a grave mistake. You can go where none of us can. You hold our future in your hands, and all the societies know it. Oh yes, you can go 1 or 2 miles from Crucible, and you drop dead. I have no knowledge of medicine, but it's probably poison. It boils my blood to be subjugated like this. But too many of the clones are sheep. As long as their pens are clean and comfortable, they bleat their arguments. Even if you think I deserve this cage, does everyone? If you want your heartstrings tugged, talk to Amelia Earhart. Doesn't she deserve the stars she craves? You know of the facility, yes? Go there, and make the machines let us leave. It is not much to ask, and it will set us free.
Even when I see it with my own eyes, it is still hard to believe.
So, you have heard from the other societies. I must confess I'm very curious what an outsider thought of them, and their positions. You might be the first objectively neutral party we've ever come across. And you'd let Genghis go free. He's caused more misery in Crucible than any other 5 clones combined. Given a chance, I shudder to think what he'd do if he was let loose. The facility has gathered some of the most obstinate and dangerous personages throughout history. It has told them that they should lead in a golden age via whatever means they see appropriate. Setting us all loose, Parter as a whole, would invite disaster. We are barely fit to lead ourselves. A tough but fair question. I must admit the case of Amelia Earhart sometimes keeps me up at night. 'Tis safer if the rule is strict, but if you wanted to make an exception or two, I could live with that. But no one from the other societies. They are all dangerous in their own way. The most likely case is anyone that leaves Crucible would die or silently fail. But if mission is correct, and they do take over the settled systems, in the course of history, it took millennia to cast out petty tyrants. The way ahead lies not looking to the past to literally guide us, but for this generation to learn from us. Terrible and great figures we represent had their time. We made the most of it. We should be at peace with it. Certainly. It is evident that the facility is decaying. It is both unsustainable and unwise for us to fix and maintain the status quo. Our community must be weaned off the machines, learn how to build, grow, and govern ourselves, allowed to raise families so we can pass our lessons to the next generation, and to die when our allotted time is finished. One day we will be worthy of going to the stars. We are just not there yet. Yes, and not to be indelicate, not for lack of trying. Are we even human in this state? We have no future, only the past. Do not listen to passion. Genghis can be very persuasive, but he's a fool. In some sense, we are an abomination. A science project made for unknown ends and with uncertain results. Once we are fully human, fully self-reliant, then we should be allowed to join the settled systems. You have no idea how profoundly grateful I am to hear that. Go to the facility and see what can be done.
Over here! We need to talk. Listen, it's not safe to talk here. It's about Roosevelt. There's something you need to know. Not here. If he found out I'm even talking to you about this... Thank you. There's a, well, cave just outside town. No chance of us being listened in on. Please, come as quick as you can. Ideally, before you go to the facility.
Is that what you want to hear?
Is that all you have to say?
I hope so. I'll meet you at the cave.
Man, how to produce power, how to fix the plumbing, for God's sake.
You're the most exciting thing that's happened.
What does your scanner reveal?
You came. I just can't take a chance. These clones, they're psychotic, crazy. If they find out, I'm sorry. I just can't take the chance. I'm sorry about that. So damn sorry. I'm not Wyatt Earp. I wish. God, how I wish I was. I was cloned off a monster. America's first serial killer. H.H. Holmes.
Well, that is less auspicious.
He was a deranged lunatic on old Earth. In the 1890s, he owned a hotel. He'd lure people there in this crazy hotel with all sorts of terrible rooms. But I'm not him. You gotta believe me.
It's like a living nightmare. If you go to the facility, I know you'd find out who I am. And if you let any of these bloodthirsty maniacs know, they'd kill me. But no, that wouldn't be the end. Every time my new clone would appear, death, torture, pure hell. I'm afraid it's you or me. I'm going to kill you. A few of the old-timers know I used to go by Bill Hickok. I mean, I had to make up a story. I always used to read the dime novels, and I figured I knew enough about Wild Bill and Wyatt to pull it off. I just had no way of knowing what my previous life had picked. So I played dumb. But Roosevelt is a crafty one. I really, really don't. Besides Ada and maybe Amelia. You're the nicest person I've met. But the other clones, they would tear me apart. Don't you see? They're the monsters. I just don't want to be tortured like that. Please, please forgive me. I just don't see a way out. I can wish it a million times, but it don't make it so. There's a screwed up honor to Genghis. Me? I'm just a yellow murderer of innocence. I never asked to be H.H. Holmes. He was a monster. I'm gonna trust you, okay? Just don't tell anyone. This never happened.
Always a satisfying moment to return.
Quiet. Did you hear?
Come. Once again, we are triumphant. hope you can succeed at that before we are discovered. It seems local fauna has been nesting here. New permanent residents. I doubt they will be interested in it. If you require organic compounds, now might be a good time to collect. Best not to leave anything useful behind.
Where have they gone?
Any adventure you can fly away from. Is that how the saying goes?
Engines firing. Here we go. Hell of a view from here.
The believers will win eventually.
It is still hard to accept a stranger in our midst. We are unnaturally dependent on the machines of the facility for every aspect of our society. The pragmatists seek to take the reins of power ourselves. We will cultivate, work, and govern for ourselves. Perhaps, once we have demonstrated that we can govern ourselves well, we can try and bring our leadership to the settled systems. But to do so too early, I fear, courts disaster. My feelings about my namesake are complicated. He was a great but flawed human being. On one hand, he guided a country through the ravages of depression and war admirably. He tirelessly fought to improve the lives of the poor and disadvantaged. But as a husband, he was unfaithful. And as a colleague, he was a consummate politician, which is sometimes good, often distasteful. He was truly a great man, and I must confess, I am proud to share his heritage. We are not 100% sure, but I have a theory. The facility has been unreliable as long as I've been alive. My guess is that they are historical figures that just didn't get a proper education. Who's to say what Julius Caesar actually looked like? Or some modern person of note that we wouldn't even know about? Whoever they are, though, they are as smart and capable as the ones that know their identity.
This is probably the right choice. These people need time. They are not ready for what awaits them in the settled systems.
Let me see. You have no idea what a reassurance it is to learn even these hints of our past. It sounds like the facility is in ruins, but perhaps the restricted section is intact? Think of the answers it must contain, and perhaps a way to help us become self-sufficient. But there is no security override code here. I would know. Think. To think that Crucible was not our first home. And Genghis Khan destroyed it. I have told people time and time again that the renegade will be the death of us all. And they already were once. The only thing clear to me is despite the facility's efforts, we haven't grown at all. Galathea's sister ship. Yes, if it can be found. Certainly, they had the capability of going into the heart of the facility. If anyone can figure a manner of locating the Beagle, it's Ada Lovelace. I'll radio her and explain the situation. I'm sure she will make every effort to assist.
This unit is busy.
So we did come from a spaceship. Of course we did. And there's another out there? What was the Beagle? Why did she and the Galathea part? But all of that in time. First, we must find her. She's not in this star system. I would have spotted her. I've studied the celestial bodies for years. No trace of a spaceship in orbit here or around the other planets. I should be thanking you for delivering such fascinating news. Now, about the Beagle, maybe the radio telescope. Yes, every morning it always defaults to the same position. I always wondered, why point at Bell 5? Petty frustration I've dealt with for years. Perhaps the facility looks for her sister. Yes, it makes sense.
I can send you the coordinates. The Bellstar system is not far. The facility communicates via a secure frequency. When you arrive, tune into that.
I hear you share the secrets of the facility with someone else. Have a care, outsider.
Always a satisfying moment to return to your ship.
Engines purring. Let's do this.
Achieving orbit now. Jump complete. Propulsion restored.
Will we be stopping for food? I would not mind trying something, and there are plenty of options.
Together we can really make a difference. One pirate's unfortunate demise long. We're making space safer, fulfilling our civic obligation. This is great, right?
Anything I can help? Help you with?
Sorry. What? We sent a squad of officers to New Atlantis. They need all the support they can get after that attack. Ah. Tell me you're here to just report a good old-fashioned crime? If I have to deal with one more corporate exec begging for special treatment, I'll eat my badge. Oh, you haven't heard? Gagarin's going to be the next New Atlantis, or so we've all been told. Centauri Mills, Arcmite, Reliant Medical, they all bought up and renovated derelict buildings here in the city. In the past couple years, we needed their jobs, to be sure. Gagarin got hit hard after the mech plants were all shuttered when the colony war ended. But I'm not sure I've ever met a more entitled group than these executives. Treat the city like an amusement park, and all of us as the amusements. It's kept me and my people plenty busy, just not with actual policing. But I'm sorry, did you actually need to report something? Guess I'm off the hook then. But look, I'm Security Chief Pretorius. If you do have anything to report, you can speak to me or one of my officers. We're always around. Gagarin's not really that sort of burg. Most of the restaurants went belly up when the mech trade shut down. Only one left is Lizzie's, on the other side of town, though it does have a nice view of the square. There's also a little social club the local executive set up across from Lizzie's, but it's still pretty light on amenities. Now, if you're just looking to resupply, then you'll want Clint's. Another case of last business standing, but he's got a good selection. And for medical supplies, you'll want Dr. Keala. You can find both of them on the main concourse. Beyond that, we're just corporate offices and private homes. Well, I came here right after training, which was 10 years ago now. Gagarin was a lot rougher then. People were still reeling from all the plants getting shut down after the war. So there was a lot of petty theft, break-ins. I was responsible for putting together a pretty busy community outreach program. Worked out well enough that they eventually made me chief. We've had our issues. Some folks aren't thrilled about the corporations moving in, but the majority don't act on it. Those that do largely keep it civil. Protest, throw some paint, occasional crate wanders off. But we've managed to avoid any open conflict so far. It's really not a bad assignment. Should get back to it anyway.
I've got applications in an Arcmite and Reliant.
Sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but I've got a lot of shipments to process still, so let's cut to the chase. Are you here to claim a shipment in storage, or do you have some other shipping concern? Did one of my robots wander off again? Was it something else entirely? I'd like to help you, but there's a problem with my computer system. I can't verify your claim number at the moment. The technician said they should be done fixing it by 1100 hours local time. Normally I wouldn't allow it, but work is starting to back up. And I wasn't looking forward to staying late to finish processing all the claims. So, what the hell? Take a crack at it. Another busy day in Gagarin Landing. You'd be surprised. Gagarin's had a bit of a resurgence lately as an industrial hub. It seems like every week we're storing and shipping more and more cargo. That reminds me, if this keeps up, we're going to need more robots. Well, it's owned by Unified Transport. We employ a mostly robotic staff. Fewer mistakes that way. We do short-term storage, long-term. I guess that's pretty much it. It's a warehouse. We do shipping. Enough said. What do you expect? Robots never get tired. They don't need breaks. They can carry heavy loads. They're faster and more efficient in every way for this kind of work. And if I'm being honest, I prefer their company. When you've spent most of your life in space away from people, you learn to trust technology more than humanity.
So helpful when it serves your purposes.
How about that? I guess I can call off the technician. And thanks to you, I won't have to work extra to make up for the time. Here's your order. Thanks again for the help.
I will never grow weary of seeing places like this.
No one's going to care if I call out sick.
No major incidents in a while. It may be paradise.
Man, what would I have done if you hadn't come along to help? Hey, you got them? That's great! And just in time, too. One of my maintenance people said they heard something rattling around in one of the purifier units. Thanks. I'll make sure the staff here always treats you right.